Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of E-Heroes. For those keeping count, this is episode 235, and my next guest has appeared on episodes 33 and 156. So we're going to bring back Michelle Pippin, and we're going to talk about showing up differently. And I think everyone's going to get they're going to get enlightenment out of this because, the ways that we've done things in the past as entrepreneurs, Michelle is going to teach us, hopefully, what she's doing to show up differently. So
Awesome.
welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be back. I'm always amazed when people have me back because I am pretty much the same like yesterday and today and tomorrow. So to have new conversations with you and to catch up after COVID, I was really looking forward to it.
Well, I'm just amazed people keep listening to the show. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's like, that thing that never ends, but I try to show up differently every day, more sarcastically than I did the previous day. And some people like it, some people don't. And I just have to say goodbye to those people.
That's right. That's right. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, right?
So, as we were talking off air, you are doing some good things. And, I know that at last year, things for you didn't look so happy.
Yes.
Um, and we don't have to share that, but I know that it's very important to you. Everything that you do, I think, has to have some element of I can't say despair, but it has to have some element that pushes us to keep going forward.
Absolutely. And I think too that entrepreneurs sharing when they go through some tough stuff
Mhm.
is important to other people, even if they're not like directly connected to me or to you in one of our communities. But just to share with your audience, I lost my brother and my only sibling on May 28th of 2022, and it was a very sudden loss. He was killed in a motorcycle accident, and he did ride a motorcycle, and he lived a high risk lifestyle, but in all my days, I never imagined losing him, right? It just was, I don't know. I kind of feel a little shocked by that still. And but the reason that I'm glad that you brought that up and that you're giving me an opportunity to share that is because the world doesn't stop turning when our hearts are broken, when we're grieving. The business still is an entity that needs to be fed and watered and nurtured. And I'm very fortunate. I told you, kind of fortunately, unfortunately, I'm a grizzled veteran in business, and I've grown my business to not be a job, right, for me, but it actually does run without me. um my oldest daughter is also, she works with me full time in the business, so both of the principal human assets of Women Who Wow, we're grieving together. And the good news is the business kept running,
Mhm.
and the bad news is that didn't leave a lot of like motivation, right, for
Right.
me to get out there and sell and talk. But the truth is, like, we do have to keep showing up in some capacity, right?
Right.
And we owe it to our people, and is one thing, but we also owe it to ourselves. I'll never forget, business is what lights me up, right? Like, I love business. I love like talking and about like little changes that you make and look under the hood of your business and giving suggestions. I'm the person who will be in line at FedEx and I'm like drawing stuff out on a napkin for some business owner behind me, and this is the kind of stuff that I geek out on. And in the darkest moments of 2022, and there were a lot of them, if I were to be candid, I was so grateful for the people who reached out with pure business questions, right?
Mhm.
I was grateful for that because it allowed me to connect to a part of myself that, wasn't just saturated with grief. And I'm always grateful for business in general and my business specifically because it gives me, freedom,
Mhm.
obviously monetary freedom, time freedom. I'm always grateful for that. But it's also, I've built it around what I love to do. And so in my darkest moments, work was not something I wanted to withdraw from. Frankly, it was quite an oasis in the middle of my grief. And so I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, I know that, going through COVID, a lot of business owners went through depression, but
Yep.
losing a loved one can make us go even darker.
Yes.
And you know, there's that expression, try to leave your home problems at home and your work problems at work. And as entrepreneurs, we can't always do that. We
No.
bring them together, and we hope that we can help others be stronger.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I'd never quite had anything like this happen to me, but I actually teach that, right? I don't teach balance or anything like that. What I teach is integration, right?
Mhm.
I teach bringing more of yourself to market. I still was out there, blogging and messaging during my darkest moments because it's who I am and what I do, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's something that not only can we not often, but I don't know that we actually should, right? Because if business was not a human endeavor, it would be easy.
Mhm.
Everybody, it's like X number of hours of this percentage input creates this output, right? It's the human factor
Right.
that makes business up and down for people, right? It's where we start to, I feel discouraged, so I don't show up, or I feel depressed, so I don't show up, or I feel that, what I'm saying? Like, it's when we don't master kind of the human element to
Mhm.
business that it's the business starts to struggle. And so, yeah, it was an interesting reality for me, but I still think that, too much separation allows you to kind of hide your magic, secret sauce. And I'm telling you, like you and I, last time we did this interview, it was during COVID.
Mhm.
And um, I'm not, we were right about a lot of things, if not everything that we said, right? And we've been doing this a long time. And,
Mhm.
the only thing that I know I'm going to win at is being me, right?
Mhm.
I know that I can beat, price hesitancy, and I don't have to bargain and negotiate when what I'm selling really is access to me, right? There's nowhere to get it but going through me. There's nowhere to get Rob except going to Rob.
Right.
And so, bringing more of yourself, I think, is such a winning strategy.
Yeah, it's we and the whole thing that we started off as saying, showing up differently.
Yeah,
It's not being different with who we are. It's about being different than who someone else is.
that's right.
When I first started in this consulting gig, and a long time ago, I thought, hey, these are the concepts that I want to teach, and it's just concepts everybody else was teaching, and everybody else, and it was like, okay, what makes you different? And when I started becoming who I really was, very sarcastic and coming at people, and doing this and getting them out of their head and making them think, and wow, Rob, you're a genius. Now it's just I'm different, and you're not used to that. So,
Well, and isn't it interesting that some of the, I guess, most well-known marketing gurus or whatever are they're saying like on in one side of their mouth they're saying like stand out, be different, whatever, and on the other side of their mouth they're saying steal my funnel, fill in the blank templates, right? And I'm thinking, who would buy that, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to run from that. And most people selling it have already abandoned that funnel.
Right.
They're too smart to sell what they're using
Yeah.
right, currently. And so when it's all old and used up, they'll sell it. And then all of their followers are trying to use the same stuff and wondering why they're not getting attention when they're literally blending in by dressing the same, acting the same, using the same colors and the same fonts and the same freaking, social media templates. And I'm thinking, I don't even know what these people are thinking, right? It doesn't make common sense. It doesn't pass the common sense test. It's like I need, the number one battle I've got to win as an entrepreneur is I've got to win the battle against obscurity, right? Like people have got to know that I exist in order to even know why they should care that I exist. And if I'm blending in as an actual marketing strategy, I just don't get it.
Yeah. The And I have not even attempted to use that AI thing to
Oh,
generate my image. Everybody on the internet's now jumping on and say, "Hey, look at my picture. Well, look what it did, and it gave me six fingers and an arm out of my head." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Everybody's doing it. I don't care."
yeah. And I tell you, I mean, and honestly, I know I sound dramatic, right? But like,
No.
even traffic, if I'm sitting in traffic, right? And I am like, this is not natural. It's not natural for humans to all be going in the same direction at the same time, right? Like, who orchestrated this? I literally, and that's where my head goes in traffic. And so whenever I see, and it's kind of that Earl Nightingale principle or philosophy, like, whenever I see everybody doing something, immediately I'm suspicious.
Mhm.
And I think I have a little bit too much pride to like join in. Because I'll be honest with you, I liked that AI thing, right? Like I didn't do it because of what we're talking about. But I am like, my niece-in-law is a photographer. And so I sent her these pictures like of like that I want of myself, right? Like a warrior kind of, image. And this is what I've been thinking about for months. And then this AI thing comes out, but immediately everybody's doing it. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
hold, 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 right?
Right.
Because I can't afford to look like everybody
No,
else.
and you know, for those that have never heard of Michelle, I want you to and usually I reserve this at the very end. I say, "Hey, look, where can people find you?" I want people to go to your website right now as they're listening because it's bmichellepippin.com.
That's right.
And the reason why she's doing things differently is she's not only betting on herself, but she has products named after herself. And you might be saying, "Well, that's kind of narcissistic." Have you read my Rob versus books?
That's right.
Ah, see, the thing is, we do things because they're not only are they different, but they make us stand out. Our personality is in our brand. So she has the Pippin programs. I think it's amazing. I have the Rob versus books. Yeah, it's named after me, but it's my personal brand.
That's right.
And see, this is what makes us. So if everybody goes to this website, bmichellepippin.com, looks at her Pippin programs, see what she's doing. You can emulate, you can copy if you wish, but I want you to think about how you can develop your own programs to help your audience be better, think differently.
I love that you said that, right? Because I often will tell people, like, you know, there's sometimes, and it shouldn't be this way, but sometimes it is, what someone is selling is not what they're visibly doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Case in point, sell your programs without ads. And under that, the word sponsored, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an ad. They're selling it through ads. Or sell without ever launching again. And it's a live launch, right? And I'm thinking now, I don't know, maybe my mind just goes to the gap, right? But to me, I tell people, I'm like, before you buy that program, shoot, even if it's my program, is it what they're actually doing or
Mm-hmm.
is it just what they're selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is like I don't know, it's like a weight loss guru who is 400 pounds, right? And you've got to look and see, are they doing that or are
Mm-hmm.
they just selling that? Because oftentimes it is a glaring difference. And
Right.
so for my programs, everything, if you want to save money on my program, save money, just watch what I do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how I show up. Watch how I sell every single day. Watch how what the life cycle of my content is. It starts on Facebook, it goes here. You know what I'm saying? Like, just watch. Success leaves clues. It's visible, right? We just have to be a dedicated student of it. And I'll
Right.
be very honest with you. Like, when I first started in my business, I invested $50. I had $213 in savings at the time, which I had amassed over time. And I took $50 of that and started my own business. And $32 of that was, No, about everything but $32, that $50 was wasted. So $18 was wasted on like business cards I never used and all that stuff. But you know, what I did then and now is extremely visible. And back then, I didn't have money for a coach. Good Lord, I was getting books, business books, like for Christmas and my birthday and stuff. But what I did was I looked, I'm like, here's what they said. What are they doing with this? How is this showing up? And I became a student of successful people. And I always emulated my own way, of course, right? But I always emulated what they actually did, not whatever they sold in their expensive programs. Saved a lot of money, and saved a lot of time, probably, right?
Oh, and the thing is, you hit it on the head with the business cards. To me, I've bought business cards in the past. I think the last set of business cards I made was probably 15 years ago.
Oh, at least, yeah.
And people are like, well, I go to these events and people are, do you have a business card? No, I have a book. You want a book? And they're like, a book? Yeah, see, a book. And they're like, well, what do I do with it?
Uh,
You read it. You want to laugh? Read my books. They'll teach you all kinds of stuff. And no, I just want a business card. Yeah, but a business card doesn't tell me anything. Doesn't give me your personality. It has maybe your picture, maybe your name rank, serial number. That's about it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. The worst thing about business cards for me, number one, like I'm like a half a step away from being an actual recluse, right? Like legitimately. So I'm not going to show up most of the time to give out the business card. So like right away it has a fatal flaw for someone like myself. And I'm not doing myself any favors necessarily by showing up, right? I'm not universally liked. But the main
Hard to
thing
believe.
is, huh?
That's hard to believe.
Oh my god. Well,
Oh, I piss off people all the time. So I guess
exactly. I'm unapologetic. I think sometimes women have a harder time with women like me than men would, right? But like, yeah, so I don't do my brand a bunch of favors by showing up in person. But my main problem with business cards is as soon as I give you my business card, you are in control. Ball is in your court, right? And like, then what do I do? Wait in the background for you to call me like one of those 1950s like sock hop dances, like boys on one side, girls on the other, and I'm just going to wait to be chosen. It just seems odd to me. So, I never have a business card and I just say, no, I don't use them, but I'll take yours right now. Ball's in my court and I can reach out if I want. Right. So that's my main problem with business cards, but I don't even know if I've done it in 15 years.
I went to a lawyer marketing event in Atlanta a few months ago, and I put a QR code on the screen of my phone.
Oh,
and I thought, well, there's a lot of people here. All I have to do is show them my phone. They can scan it with their phone. You know how many lawyers actually want to even be bothered with that? And I thought, okay, yeah, I don't have to hand out anything. Show my phone. They can click on it. They're like, what's that? QR code? What do I do with that? How do I? And it's like after about 2 times of me trying to hold their phone and do this and tell them, I'm like, screw this shit.
I'll take your card. How about that?
Yeah, and that's what I did. I ended up taking their card and sending them information. I'm like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah. Don't call me. I'll call you.
And so you think about all the people that are confused about technology, and you want to make things simple. Give them a book. Because honestly, it's easier.
That's awesome. And it sticks out, right? Like, especially your books, because they actually are quite a fun read. And when you're at a business conference, a marketing conference, you're curious, right? Like it gets you past that first door. Like they're going to be curious, like, what is this book? It's not your standard guy in a suit, like 14 ways to like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like right away.
And the funny thing is that it's marketing disguised as humor.
I love it.
And so there's just very little marketing advice in here. what they are is, you know, each book contains about 50 stories of me sarcastically dealing with customer service, you know, spammers,
Yeah.
scammers, and then
The entitled.
at the very end, there's a little life lesson that, you know, will give you a hint of what to do or what's expected, or, you know, and people love it because I'm not pushing them
Yes.
into marketing. I'm suggesting that they do something, but they can see themselves in these same situations. They're like, I wish I I could be like Rob and talk to these people like this. And
Yes.
you know, it's just another way of attraction marketing or rejection marketing, because those
Both
who,
work.
yeah, those who don't like sarcasm are never going to call me to help them. Those who like it are going to be my best clients ever.
And those who are easily offended and, need a safe space after seeing your book, they're not going to make it anyway
Right.
in business, right? You do need a tough skin, and you do need some mental toughness. And I feel like, I didn't even realize in your books, and I've read quite a few of them, if not all of them. I never even quite caught the marketing edges, but what I did catch was like he is living out, again, visible success, leaving visible clues. He's living out, showing up differently. He is modeling mental toughness,
Yeah.
right? And he is living the entrepreneurial dream of that freedom, right?
Yeah.
Like, so many entrepreneurs feel stuck and imprisoned. I got to do that. I got to do the whatever, what do they call it, like the 30-minute breakfast meetings,
Yeah.
and I've got it, all this stuff. And it's like, and you're like, nah, none of that. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of thumb your nose at it. And most people, I call it walk away power, right? That's what entrepreneurs want, whether it's walking away from a job or a relationship or anywhere you have dependence. And I just love that you model that, you know what, I'm going to be who I am regardless. And I don't have to take these calls. I don't have to take somebody's money when those are my favorite of yours, when they're like, well, no, I want to pay you money. And you're like, well, actually, that's not an option for you. So you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the walk away power.
Yeah.
And I don't care what industry you're in or whatever, like, entrepreneurs are drawn to that. So it's funny because I never even caught that marketing angle,
Yeah.
but that mental toughness and that walk away
Well,
power.
and the thing is that I think it's very hard for most entrepreneurs to have that mental toughness, because we have these review sites everywhere that don't even allow people that were just your business, you know, just your client to review. Everybody can go in and oh, I saw a video of them and they just totally sucked, or I was triggered, or and they put these comments down and do nothing but drive your reviews down. And then people are crying, these entrepreneurs. I'm like, so, you know, to me, it's yeah, one part of me, like, I love reviews, but I hate dishonest reviews.
Yep.
And to tell, you know, and the last couple of weeks, all I've been doing is writing letters or emails to these companies to try to get negative reviews taken off their site.
And they're corrupt a little bit too.
Yeah,
These review sites, a lot
right.
of the times, right? If you are paying them for a particular service, then your positive reviews will usually get, shown. But a lot of them are corrupt, and I
Yeah.
don't participate actually in any of them. And in fact, even like back in the day when I first started doing speaking on bigger stages, um, it was maybe 2006, 2007. So back then, a speaker would take the stage and there would be these people handing out one page, like, where they grade me essentially, right? Like, um, and I would not take the stage. I give you my word. No, I don't do that. Or the first time I didn't have the guts to do that. So I just threw all of those reviews in the trash can, because what I used to get was her hair's too long, or she needs to work on her non-regional diction, or things like that, right? And I'm like, you know what? I'm
And,
here. Y'all paid me to be here.
right.
I'm not interested in what you think of my boots or my outfit or my hair or if I had, a dramatic pause or two. I mean, I'm just not interested because not everybody's opinion matters.
Well, and see, I stutter sometimes, and people make fun of that, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I
No,
probably make more money than you, so unless you're paying my bills, you have
yeah,
no opinion.
the only review I'm interested in is how many people follow me from the stage to the back of the room,
Right.
right? That's it and that's all. And it's not because it's just about the money, but it's about those are the people who are wanting transformation and change. Those are the action takers, right? I'm certainly not interested in, the people who are literally paying to be in an event that you were paid to speak at,
Right.
you know,
Oh,
uh,
it's and on the flip side of that, you have people that get up on stage, they have their PowerPoint up there and their clicker, and they're reading off the PowerPoint, and then they get these brilliant letters. Oh, they were wonderful. Yeah, they just read a PowerPoint. Could have
it's
just emailed it to me.
yes, and saved me the boredom.
Yeah, I mean, so people like us, we get up on stage, we have our material. Sometimes we ad lib, sometimes we change things. Sometimes we look at the audience and go, what I had planned to say is not going to
Right.
work here because you guys don't have common sense. So let me mix it up a little bit and showcase something different to liven you up because I see that you're all bored from reading the last slides. And then you get all the negative stuff. And it's like, no, I'm not paid to be here to listen to that garbage.
No,
So,
absolutely not.
you know, this is what it means to show up differently. If you're one of those people that likes slides, great, but you don't need 50 of them. Take one or two,
Right.
click it, show a picture, could be a happy face, and then tell a story about it. Go to the next one, tell a story, but don't read from the script. I mean, don't read from the slide because it's, for us entrepreneurs, we've done it, been there. Don't do it again.
And also, I think showing up differently requires you to look at the stage, and I mean stage in a more general sense also, right? Like the stage that you're showing up on.
Mm-hmm.
What are your competitors doing? Look at what they're doing and figure out. Like I always say, look for the Michelle shaped hole, right? Look for the Rob shaped hole and figure out what are they missing, right? Because I was one of the first, it was quite a I don't know, a point of pride for me because I'm such a non-technical person. But I was one of the first interviews for the Info Marketing Association, and I know that all the business greats, like are watching this and being interviewed there. And so, I mean, I was so honored to be asked, and also. I know that I know enough technological stuff to get my stuff done and be dangerous. I don't really teach that stuff, right? Also, I know that on that stage, I'm going to be laughed out of the room with my little, non-technical workarounds that I use. And so I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk. I'm going to do the mental toughness thing. I'm going to do the mindset thing, right? Because it's different than and plus everybody there is selling like a software as a service or funnels or whatever. And so I'm going to show up differently, right? And so, but on maybe a woman entrepreneur stage that's more general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll make sure that I put in there something about like workaround funnels or little hacks to get more view, that kind of thing, right? Little doses of SEO. Why? Because they're not getting that. All they're getting is the like mindset stuff. So you got to look at where you're showing up and figuring out, okay, what can I bring to the table that no one else is likely to bring? And in terms of delivery, I remember when I first started speaking on the bigger stages, and I was able to share stages with like Gary Vaynerchuk and Mel Robbins and Suze Orman and all these huge people. And to be honest, I was young, but I also I didn't have I don't know. I don't have that gene in me that like can put together a great outfit or, like that's just not in me. And so in the beginning, I felt like I just couldn't compete in that regard. And so I just showed up the way I always show up, right? Jeans and boots or a sundress and boots or, something like that. And I didn't even realize how like rebellious that was at the time. I did that a little bit like, feeling like I wished I could put together what they had. But it didn't take me long to realize that I was the most relatable person, that they actually looked at me as like audacious and courageous for showing up that way, right? But if you look around, there's always a unique way to show up completely authentically to your brand and your personality. You just have to put in a little bit of time, right? So even like coming into your eHeroes podcast, right? So I know you and I just have these fun conversations, but for a future guest, like look and see what he's covered before, right? So that you know how you can bring something different to his audience. It's just, it's a good habit to get into, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at how to show up differently, do your research, and then, don't contrive something, just what's uniquely me that is a really great complement to what's already being offered.
Right. Yeah. And that kind of goes to your success files. I mean,
Yeah.
I just looked at your Facebook and you're sharing a bunch of them, and I think that's pretty awesome because you're highlighting some specific incident that happened, or and people can relate to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's true success files, right? Like I'm often introduced in higher level circles as the wealthiest woman that people know. And it's not about my income, right?
Right.
Or my net worth. It's because while I am profitable, and I always say I'll stack my profit against nearly anyone, right? A lot of these people are in wild debt, saying like they carry debt that would make me like I couldn't sleep at night, like with that kind of thing. But like I'll stack my profit against nearly anyone any day of the week. But that's not why they're saying that. They're saying that I'm the wealthiest one they know because of my marriage and my relationship with my adult kids and the simple life that I lead, and also my confidence, right? Like I will show up and not without the accoutrements. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I don't need that. I know that I'm enough. And so for me, I feel like that's true success, right? I'm not willing to, sacrifice my life on the altar of business success. I never have been. I'm willing to work.
Hmm.
I'm not allergic to the hustle, right? But I'm not willing to give up the things that matter most in order to create any level of success. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I'm excited about that. I wanted to do it this past summer, and but now I'm doing it the first of this year, and I'm so excited to show people the how, right, and the mindset, the mental toughness, right, the boundaries, all the things that help you create success and actually help create demand for your work, which is a whole, another benefit of living authentically.
The it was funny because when I launched the very first Rob versus the Scammers book, Rob versus book, this one just happened to be Scammers. 99% of the people loved it. And there was one person that said, but it's just a collection of stories. It'll never sell. I'm glad I didn't listen.
That's right.
Now there's 6 of them, and actually, this week I just started writing concurrently or assembling the stories for book 7 and 8.
Oh, good. What's it going to be
And
about?
what's it be about?
Yeah. Who are
That
we? Who are we versus this time?
I don't know yet. I haven't. The stories are there. Once I get all the stories assembled and I chapter them out, and then usually the verses comes out last.
Okay.
Yeah, but
What gave you the idea to do that very first one, Rob versus the
well,
scammers?
I started sharing out these stories on Facebook, just of my adventures dealing with the Visa MasterCard scammers, and I had looked down in my notes and I'm like, well, I shared out like 50 of these so far, and a couple of people said, yeah, Rob, you should assemble them into a book. I'm like, yeah, but I don't even know what to call it. And as I was coming up with all kinds of weird and wacky names, and because all my other books are all about business,
Yep.
or education of some sort, one on social media, SEO, life lessons. And I thought, well, it's me against these people, so it's got to be about me somehow. And that's eventually I came up with Rob verses, and I thought, oh, that'll stick.
It's
And
so
and and
brilliant.
and I thought, okay, I'm just going to get a one-off book, see what people like. The funny thing is that I was halfway through assembling this book. As I'm writing notes and stories and dealing with these scammers, I'm like, well, I have more material. And so as soon as this book was published, I started working on the next one, Rob versus the Morons.
Oh, there's plenty. There's
And
plenty of
and
that.
the funny thing is as I'm assembling that one, more material, and after a while, the books write themselves.
No
And
doubt.
I have people that are like, Rob, they just keep getting funnier and funnier and funnier. That's like, and so I was approached a few months ago, and we wrote a pilot episode for a future TV show based on the book. So we'll see if it gets picked up.
Oh, I love that. That is something
Yeah.
I would watch. I love this kind of stuff. And the just the spammers and the scammers are out. They are out in full force. Like my husband, who's even less technical than me, he'll send me a screenshot. I think this is spam, but it'll say like your Navy Federal credit card is being canceled. And I'm like, well, yeah, because we don't have a Navy Federal credit card. It's spam. And then he's like, the one says your Virginia driver's license is being suspended. And he's like, what is this about? And I said, honey, you don't have a Virginia driver's license because we live in North Carolina. But
Yeah, it's yeah. They
they're not there.
they capture millions of email addresses, and they just throw out the same message over and over and over again.
I guess
And
somebody falls for it, or else they
Yeah,
wouldn't keep doing
they do fall for it. And a lot of them are overseas,
it. Yeah,
and usually the dead giveaway is a foreign accent.
sure.
Now granted, that can't always be the case, because I've gotten on legitimate sites, but unfortunately their call centers are overseas too. So it's like, yeah, eventually they're going to get all your information and scam you. But I had to have a talk with my insurance company, because every company out there asks for the last 4 digits of your social.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, well, my insurance company, for security reasons, asks for the first 4 digits instead of the last 4. Well, if they got my last 4 and I'm giving them the first 4, they only have to
Easy.
guess the middle one.
That's right.
And then the insurance company says, yeah, but it's safe.
Yeah, it's you get the
No.
notice in the mail that it's been compromised, right?
Right. And at least every 6 months, either myself or my kids, my cards are getting compromised by, you know, the banks always, hey, we see fraudulent activity, and they'll send us a new card. Well, my
It's
son got a new card sent to him in the mail. Before he even got to use it, it was already compromised.
Same thing happened to my son, and he was home 2 summers ago from college, and he was, which I don't recommend, but he was not spending any money. All the boy did was work and come home,
Mm-hmm.
So he was putting his paychecks in, and he was like trying to surprise himself. So like, before he went to college, how much money he had saved up, and so he almost cried. A grown man, he's because somebody had been using his card, and luckily we banked with a credit union, and they refunded all of it. But someone in California had been, I think all they had done was eat for the whole summer, because it was all these Uber Eats. And luckily we don't have Uber Eats in our area because we live so rurally. So it was an easy, thing. But yeah, it's just it's amazing how they can get hold of stuff. And like these people are probably pretty smart. They could do something with all their technical skill of hacking. And it's a shame that they're doing that.
Yeah. So who's your prime audience? I know that most of it is circled around women.
Yep.
Is that your primary, or do you help other people as well? Other
Well,
people being men.
we have a few good men, right? We like to embarrass them at our live events, and we'll play like it's raining men when they walk in,
One
But
man.
yeah, but it's primarily women entrepreneurs. But I say it's for seriously driven women entrepreneurs, right? The ones who refuse to settle, the ones who refuse to choose, the ones who are thinkers, critical thinkers, and they have an inner drive, right? And I don't mean any disrespect, right? to women who aren't interested in business. It's just not their thing, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of hobbyists who are pretending to be entrepreneurs, and I kind of like secretly joke, they just kind of want to be able to tell their husband what they did all day, right?
Yeah.
They're not seriously like building a business. And so I really like the ones who have that inner drive and inner fire, who want to create something, of themselves and create a legacy in business. And that's who I really am talking to with all of my, any of my blogs, my outreach, my interviews. I just want to connect with women like me, right? Who have that fire that is unput outable, really.
Right. And for all the guys that are listening, go back 20 seconds, re-listen to everything that she just said, because that's her ideal avatar. That's the person that she wants to go after. I want you guys to listen to that, put in your head your ideal client, because once you understand who it is that you want to target, it makes it so much easier to not only capture those types of people, but make more money. And granted,
Absolutely.
it's not always about money, it's about freedom, but you're going to have a more, I think, a more passionate purpose in your business to go after that single avatar.
Yes, and with a face. I mean, right? I always write to one person, right? And honestly, that person is usually me. And people say, "Oh, you're all up in my junk drawer." And I'm like, "Well, I was in my own junk drawer first, right?" And I connect like that. But it's funny, if I could just, I know we're running out of time, but one of my first like clients in business, I had an HR business, and so I basically helped keep small business owners like out of court, right? Like did like employee manuals and stuff. And one of my clients was a financial planner. And I was a little bit irritated because he said something that ended up being wildly true. But he said, money freedom buys time freedom, and time freedom buys money freedom. And my whole drive in life is freedom, right? I will not be ruled. I cannot, that's my, I am like, give me liberty or give me death. And I'm not afraid to die, which makes me a very dangerous person to try to control, right? And so when he's telling me that, and I'm like, but freedom's my thing, and I didn't have money freedom. And it really irritated me. So like, while money is never my end goal, freedom's my end goal. But money does buy some, freedom, to choose where I live, where my kids go to school to a certain extent, what opportunities we have. Even like, I've had in the last couple of years, I've had some, a health issue, right? But I'm not limited to what my insurance. I've got amazing insurance. I'm married to a public school teacher, but I'm not limited to what they want to pay. I can do whatever health, I have freedom there to choose what I really want to do. So anyway, so I just wanted to point that out because it was such a big lesson for me, but only when I embraced it. When I was fighting against it, it worked against me.
And there you go. So everybody, go over to our website, bemichellepippin.com, and we will see you on the next episode. Adios.